Hey, my name is Anthony Romano, and I'm going to show you in this video the top 5 keto foods to have on hand. So this could be stuff when you're on the go. Some of them are a little bit of treats, but overall this is just the best nutrient-dense foods, low carb, good amount of protein, good amount of essential fats, everything you'd want nutritionally in foods to have on the go that are also delicious and conducive to fat loss and muscle gaining goals. All right, so I already explained the purpose of every food on this list and why they're on the list. They're most conducive for nutrients, minimizing sugar intake, maximizing healthy fats and amino acids, and also, calorie-minded choices, okay? Now, some of these are gonna be weird, okay? Some of these are gonna seem weird to you, but these are truly put in here with thought. So the first one to have, I guess I'll start off with the weirdest one, okay, is cod liver in a can. This is the actual liver, okay? This is the actual liver of Atlantic cod. And essentially, you can take a look at this one more time, just because you're probably wondering, what is this, okay? And when I tell you the calories on this, it's going to seem massive, but essentially, you got a full can. Well, it only has the sats for half of a can, but a full can is about 480 calories, and you have about almost 50 grams of fat. Well, you have 48, and then you have, let's see what we got here, 0 carbs and 10 grams of protein. So this is a very fat-heavy food, very low carb, 0, and moderate protein. For the people who, are going for the classic standard ketogenic diet, this is perfect. For people doing a muscle building keto diet, this is also perfect. Anybody doing any kind of keto diet can benefit from this. And the reason why I'm starting off with it is because liver is truly one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet, if not the most nutrient dense food. So even though this can cost more than, your average pack of sardines or canned fish or tuna or salmon, whatever you want to have, it's right, like $3, right? Expensive for a can of fish, but this is probably the most nutrient-dense food in the entire grocery store. And if you can get that for $3, that's a steal to me, okay? So it seems expensive, but it truly is a great value. And I keep these things on hand all the time. That's why you can see there's a little dent in there too, because I have this one in my bag, in my, my briefcase basically. But why would you want to have this? Okay. It doesn't taste bad at all. In fact, I always tell people that if somebody lied to you and said this was the most luxury salmon in the world, you would probably believe them, assuming they, got rid of the actual oil out there and presented it in a way that looked like salmon. You would 1000% believe that it's like some luxury salmon from France or something. I don't know.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy the burger.
I would like to.
But I love the taste of this stuff. It tastes unreal, and it tastes way better than other livers that you can get from other animals. And I'm spending the most time on this one because with liver from other animals, like beef liver, for example, if you get it from a grain-fed cow opposed to a grass-fed cow, you are going to have this sort of drastically different taste profile and drastically different nutritional profile between the grass-fed beef liver and the grain-fed beef liver. Grain-fed beef liver is what everybody has tried most of the time, and it's what people are normally, giving the review of, oh, liver tastes horrible, I never want to have liver. That's because it's the grain-fed liver. It has this, hay-like barnyard taste, and when it's cooked, it tastes very bitter. And you can kind of tell how good a liver is and how nutrient dense it is by how sweet it tastes. If it tastes bitter, it's probably not a healthy animal. Liver is very, volatile. It's the part of the body that if you were healthy, it's going to have a load of nutrients stored in there. If you were unhealthy, it's going to have a load of toxins stored there. So it's the same with, an animal. And when we're talking beef liver, there's a dramatic taste difference, right? There's a sweetness or just haystack, right? And I've had beef liver plenty of times, but cod liver tastes 10 times better. It tastes like an actual fish. It has a load of omega-3s, like just ungodly amount of omega-3s, and they're very bioavailable. And here's the thing too, I know vegetarian people who can have cod liver because it's from a fish. It's not, a beef liver or something, and you're getting just the same nutrient profile, 10 times the ease. It's just an amazing product that you should have. And I truly believe everybody should try this one out, regardless of how they eat, because it is truly a superfood. So this is the one superfood that you can keep in your pocket, and as long as the can doesn't get punctured and spill everywhere, you're good. And you also got a serving of cod liver oil in here as well after you eat the actual liver. So highly recommended. Even vegetarian people can have it. It's just great. Now the second one to have, because I'm keeping in the grain of real food, is of course a pack of sardines, but these are smoked sardines. These are basically herring fillets, okay? So canned herring, it might look, like another canned fish. I'm not down for that, right? Of course, you have to be careful that there's no, BPA, BPS in the can, right? No bisphenol, any sort of endocrine disruptor in the can. So you have to make sure the can is high quality, and, you got to go for a brand that you trust, like I do for this Brunswick, okay? But for some reason, these smoked herring fillets, just golden smoked. I don't know what golden smoking does. I don't know how you golden smoke something opposed to smoking it regularly.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Maybe just smoking it to the point of goldenness, but it tastes amazing. It honestly tastes like hot dogs, like Costco hot dogs. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I know not everybody likes hot dogs, but they taste not like fish at all. But it has to be golden smoked herring fillets, okay? So if you're gonna get a canned fish that actually tastes good and you want one to be easy, convenient, herring fillets, especially if they're golden smoked.
I don't even know what that means.
Okay, so the next one here is macadamia nuts, okay? I'll have a picture of macadamia nuts here, and I have links in the description to, macadamia nuts in bulk, great prices, and some of these other snacks that I'm going to be talking about. But macadamia nuts are great. Very clean nut. Okay, of all the nut choices you have, a lot of them are very high in omega-6 inflammatory fats, and realistically, a lot of them are not made in hygienic processes. Like example, cashews are primarily made through slave labor. It's just not a good, investment to get into, because you're probably getting a load of mold toxins, which is another issue for nuts and how they're procured. Even pistachios. Pistachios are a great quality nut, but due to their nature of their shell and the little bit of moisture they can hold in the shell, you can have mold toxin issues. So macadamia nuts are one of the best choices you can have, and they're one of the reasons why I always keep a big essentially bulk bag of Kirkland macadamia nuts in my house, and then we have either a Ziploc bag of them around with you, or maybe you keep if you get a different brand, you can keep some always in your briefcase or in the car, or just things like that. Macadamia nuts are a great choice, high in, I believe they have a good amount of vitamin E, certain forms of vitamin E. So one of the best choices you have for nuts, because it actually has some nutritional value, and it's not simply jacked up with anti-nutrients in the shell of the actual nut. So even example, almonds are a good choice. They're not going to be as unhygienic as other nuts or as inflammatory as other nuts, but they do have phytic acid in the shell. So macadamia nuts would be a better choice. But my hierarchy of nuts, as funny as that sounds, is typically macadamia is at the top. Then you got pistachios and almonds around there. Just peanuts, not as cleanly, high in omega-6. Unless you get natural peanut butter, that's better. But then at the bottom, you kind of have cashews and some of these other nuts. Walnuts are also good, but macadamia is just a great choice to have. And then also, now for some of the funner stuff. Okay, some of the funner snacks here to have on the go. Quest chips. Okay, Quest chips, these things are game changers. I absolutely love Quest chips. I got chili lime and I got some nacho cheese there. Quest chips are basically what real chips should be. They're not just jacked up with sugar, and they're not some crappy attempt to be a keto chip. No, these taste like some of the best chips you'll ever have. And the beauty of it is they don't have these other kryptonite ingredients in the non-nutritional ingredient section that sneak into Doritos and Lay's and all these other brands. All those other chip brands, you get what you pay for. If you pay $1 for a bag of chips, it's because, or the no-name brand of chips, it's because you're getting, this brand's trying to compete and make you think their chips taste better than Lay's, so they can have you go around telling your buddies, oh wow, the no-name brand chips are the best. When we had them at the Super Bowl party or whatever, that's what they want you to say, because they want to jack up the MSG and the other excitatory neurotoxins in the product so that your brain is tricked into thinking the food tastes better. This is a real phenomenon. This is not made up. If you look up MSG, it stands for monosodium glutamate. This is an ingredient like aspartame, like other fillers that sneak into products, and companies are allowed to use them for some absurd reason up to a certain point, as long as they disclose it, because what it essentially does is it excites your brain and tricks it into thinking that something tastes really good. You could put a load of MSG into a piece of dirt and you would think it tastes like the best dirt you've ever had in your life. So that is how MSG works. It's very well documented. It's not just some, riffraff I'm throwing at you, some rhetoric. And Quest chips do not have anything like that. And you can find other chips that are devoid of those ingredients like MSG, but you're still going to get the carb content. They're going to be the whole grain chips. They're going to be the stuff that's still going to spike your blood sugar. So just go for the Quest chips. I carry these around. I put them on salads. I put them in Chipotle bowls. They're an amazing addition to other foods, in addition to the fact that you can just carry them around. Keep them in your car. Keep them in the glove box. It's a great snack to have on the go. And, they're actually great chips. They're not simply like some crappy knockoff, okay? Last thing is Quest cookies. So I know I'm a big fan of Quest, but a lot of what Quest does uses whole food ingredients, good whole food ingredients. And last note I'll say about these Quest chips is that, if you do break your fast with them, the 1 gram of maltodextrin in here might raise your blood sugar a bit, but still it's a negligible amount, and realistically it's not as problematic as other foods. Especially if you had this after other meals in the day, the blood sugar spike it's going to cause is going to be blunted by the other food in your stomach if you had this after a meal by an hour or so. Okay, so not a problem. But same deal with Quest cookies. Okay, these are 240 calories. Basically, we got 16 fat, 15 protein, 20 carb, but 10 fiber and 10 erythritol. So essentially, 15 between sugar, alcohols, and fiber, only 5 carbs are getting through, processing your blood sugar, and actually influencing your blood sugar. So also keep in mind the protein and fat and the combination of mixing macros is going to minimize that blood sugar spike. So for me, I'm a fan because they have fully stevia sweetening, not any sucralose or sulfate potassium or aspartame or any other BS like that. There's virtually no kryptonite in here, except there may be a small amount of some processed oil. But even though I hate processed oil and urge you to look away from it and steer away from it, the amount that are in here seems very, very minimal. So, overall, I think it's a great snack to have on hand. These things are not just like, the Quest bars where it's like a slab of cardboard. This stuff is like a real cookie that you'd find at like, grandma's. That's how it feels. And they're just great. They're a great snack to have on hand, and the balance of protein and fat is going to keep you full in a lot of these foods. Okay, so that is it. And by the way, I guess I never really said this for the cod liver. The amount of fat in here is probably going to keep you full for hours, and you're getting shitloads of vitamin A, D, and K, a little bit of K, and a little bit of E in here. So your fat-soluble vitamins are hugely important to your health, and that's why you want to get more cod liver and don't just write it off, because at this point you're probably watching the video and going, oh yeah, the cookies look good, the chips look good, maybe those herring fillets, but not so much the liver. I'm telling you, get the liver, okay? It's amazing. It's going to satisfy your need for fat-soluble vitamins because those are the most chronically deficient vitamins that plague Western society today. If you live in Canada or the States, there's a very high chance you're deficient in vitamin D, E, A, or K. 1,000%. Very, very likely that you're deficient in those ingredients. And even for me, I try to get, vitamin A, D, and K, right? I get it in a liquid there, and I take it often, right? But getting more in a liver form is truly an amazing way to boost your nutrition. So it's the most nutrient-dense food, and with all these foods, you have options now for high nutrient density, for lower calorie options, higher protein options, and easy portability, easy transportation options, right? Stuff that's just going to be convenient for you. That is, I personally think, the great foundations of stuff you want to have in your arsenal on a ketogenic diet, or any diet for that matter. Okay, so that's it. And also don't forget the macadamia nuts. But that's it. Go to my website, romanoketo.com, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and leave me some questions that I could help you out with. Peace.